ZeroTrusted.ai's user settings. This is actually where you're going to come in and set up how your ZeroTrusted.ai platform works. And what I mean by that is not necessarily the users themselves, I'll be showing you that later, but the settings that the users are going to see when they do secure AI prompt, when they're running AI health check, or up in the dashboard. So here you can see LLM selection. These are the actual large language models you're going to give your users access to. And if you need to add more or subtract more, you can actually come here to LLM settings. You can add ChatGPT, Cohere. You can see your current credit in tokens. You can run the scans for AI health check right here if you want to. But I'll come back to that later. We'll go in depth on setting up your first party and third party large language models. Right now, let's talk about just user settings. So this just allows you to select the LLMs. You might have some words you don't want to anonymize. So when you go in your security and privacy settings, you might have, let's say you have GDPR set up, or HIPAA, or one of these governance compliance or regulatory requirements set up in your organization down here. Well, those are going to automatically identify any type of words that fall within those compliance requirements, whether it's documents you upload or if it's actual things that your people or your organization users are putting into the prompt. So there might be ones you don't want to anonymize, and that's because you're doing tests, or maybe you need to be HIPAA compliant, but you need to make sure that the users or the patient's name is anonymized, but you can't afford to anonymize any other variables related to them, because you won't get the right information back. So this is where you don't anonymize, and you can upload a text file too if you have specifics you want done. Reliability, this is really set up so that when you're going in and you run multiple models, what it's going to do is it's going to look across each model. It's going to check for accuracy, reliability. It's going to make sure that it's not hallucinating, and if it does, it's going to provide you analysis and report. Compliance, pretty self-explanatory here. Maybe you don't want to run compliance and you would have to approve that. But this is a really powerful capability on Zero Trusted AI. You just select the regulatory compliance requirement you want, and that will be enabled on across the platform. Do you want to look at the outputs for plagiarism? You can do that. Do you want to look for specific threats and attacks to your first party models, your large language models, and your agents? You can select that here. If there's certain types of words that you want to make sure they're anonymized before they go to the third-party models or first-party models, you can select them here. You can look at sector, and this is PII, that's personally identifiable information, and PHI, which is personal health information. So you can just come in here and select them. Maybe government's important to you, social security numbers, etc. And then enable safeguard words. So this is the list that I'll show you later, but those will be keywords that you don't want to go to in your third-party models. So maybe work on a secret project, for example, rainbow unicorn, and that doesn't mean anything to anyone else, but you don't want the model to figure out what that is because that's an internal program you got running. The privacy level, are you going low, moderate, or high? And what do you want actually done if it finds data that doesn't meet GDPR requirements? Do you want to anonymize it or mask it? Most likely you want to anonymize it because you want it to be able to keep context, but you can also mask it. And then you can come in here and delete your search history. But this deletes all the history up here in search. So if you're doing that for your users, you have new users, and you've actually kept all of your fine tuning data and you're going to export it, this is a great thing to do before you go on to the new state of the art model or agent.